And we're here in the lobby of Colonial Florist on King Street in Georgetown, where we're talking to our final candidate of the five that we've been posting throughout the week. And this is Reverend Ronald McInnis. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
Yeah, so here we are, just a couple of weeks away from the Democratic primary. You ready for it?
I am. I'm anxious and excited about the outcomes and being able to serve my city in a different capacity.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, most people in Georgetown know who you are. You've been here a long, long time. But there might be a couple of people watching who may be new to the area or something and don't know who Ronald McInnis is. So tell us about yourself.
I'm Ronald McInnis, lifelong resident of Georgetown. I'm currently working as the program coordinator for the Time to Change program at Helping Hands of Georgetown, which encompasses the Georgetown County Career Connections, which employs help unemployed and underemployed adults to develop a career path. It also encompasses the YEP program, Youth Empowerment Program for the youth, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in our local high schools, countywide, giving them a career path, teaching them the necessary, giving them the necessary tools that's necessary to go out into the world and make a living once they finish high school.
Mm-hmm. And talking about, well, we can just jump board off of that to start this. Talking about young people, since you work with them on a daily basis, and you talk about helping them find a career, get a job. Mm-hmm. What can City Council do to keep them here and help bring more jobs to the area that would be attractive to someone graduating high school, graduating college, to keep them here? What can be done?
Well, of course, with City Council, it's about the policies and developing policies and ordinances that will move our city progressively forward. So when we sit down at the table with new industry or making decisions that's going to concern our city, we must keep in mind that we want to bring our youth back to the city. So we have to make it appealing to them. Jobs, sustainable jobs with living wages, affordable housing, making housing available to them in areas that they can feel safe and secure.
Mm-hmm. But as far as attracting businesses, we hear that all the time. Georgetown needs to work harder on attracting businesses. What can you as a council person do to help bring, something that has some decent jobs to Georgetown?
Well, again, it's all about the policies and the ordinances that we set as a council, the relationships that we have with those within the city, those department heads that are employed to look for businesses. But as councilmen, we need to ensure that when we bring those businesses in or set ordinances or policies, that it benefits the business as well as the community. So again, when we bring those businesses in, we want to make it appealing to them, but also appealing to the future employees of that business with livable wages and benefit packages that are competitive within the job market.
Mm-hmm. And that's talking about gaining jobs and bringing jobs. Unfortunately, on the other end of that spectrum is losing jobs, and a lot of people in the past year and a half or so have at Liberty Steel, reopened, and then COVID hit, and I think they're down to like 14 workers now, something like that. Mm-hmm. No real definitive answer whether it's going to restart as a steel maker. Most people are saying it doesn't look like it. If it doesn't restart as a steel mill, what do you think should happen with the property?
Well, there's been a study that a lot of money was spent and put into to develop that property. I think that the property should be developed, and whatever development happens there to improve and keep the integrity of our historical Georgetown, as well as provide our citizens with livable wages, affordable housing. Those are things that could go up on that property. Affordable housing, businesses that will provide livable wages.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to see like retail there, hotels, restaurants, or another industry, not like the steel mill, but some type of industry? What would you? Any of those things?
Well, whatever's going to benefit the citizens of Georgetown. I'm not set in stone on any particular industry, whether it's an industry, whether it's hotels, whether it's condominiums, whatever is going to benefit the citizens of Georgetown. That's what I'm for. I'm looking ahead to the future for those of us who are younger than I am. I've seen my better days, but I want better days for the youth, those who are younger than I am, my children and my children's children, to come forth with something that's going to benefit them as well as keep the integrity of Georgetown.
Yeah. Now, one thing I've asked all the other candidates this week, and I'll ask you the same thing. If something happens to the property, if they do redevelop it, and it becomes, a very valuable area, a very, expensive area, is there a concern that that property value going way up would spread across Fraser Street, cause that property value to go way up, and then you'll have people taxed out of their homes because that property value suddenly is a lot more than it is right now? Is that a concern?
It is a concern. It's always a concern when we are talking about taxing somebody or moving somebody because of cost out of their community, out of where they are accustomed to living. Well, if we bring industry or business into Georgetown that pays the livable wages, then that will keep in stride with the taxes that we are asking them to pay. So if we are giving them jobs that can sustain them, then the taxes wouldn't be an issue. However, if you're going to keep them at minimum wage jobs, then yes, that's going to be an issue. So we need to get rid of those $7.25, $9 an hour jobs and start paying folks what they're worth.
Mm-hmm. Now, most of the businesses, especially on Front Street, are mom and pop operations. We're sitting in one right now.
I love it.
That you might not can afford $9, $10, $12 an hour worker. I mean, should they just shut their doors? I mean, what should happen with the ones that, they would love to pay $12, $15 an hour, but they can afford $8 an hour? What should happen to those businesses?
I really don't believe that you can't afford to pay people what a sustainable or a livable wage. So, I mean, the question is kind of a two-sided sword. Mm-hmm. How can you ask someone to come work if they can't take care of their family? What are you asking them to work for? Why would a person want to show up for work? And you see in South Carolina, even around the nation now, people are not going back to work because they are tired of making these minimum wages. So we need to come together and figure out how can we make livable wages so that people can want to come to work that they are passionate about. But then when they go home, they don't have to worry about their lights being shut off. I see it every day. Food in their refrigerator, I see it every day. Educating their children when it's time for them to go off to higher education, post-high school, I see that every day. So we need to find a way to cut this culture of poverty. So we have to develop a way. I understand that these are mom and pop operations, but the mom and pop operations, I don't believe they're living in conditions that will be conducive of $7 and $8 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there anything City Council or the city as a whole can do to help businesses to be able to pay more? And one thing I've asked all the candidates is about business licenses. If you open a business in Georgetown County outside the city limits, you don't have to pay a business license. There's no business license charged. Are business licenses something the city should look at as maybe saying, hey, let's help the businesses by dropping this? I know it's not a lot of money for each business, but every penny helps. I mean, is that something they should look at?
I think that we should look at every opportunity to help the businesses to survive as well as to help our citizens to survive and thrive. Because, my vision for Georgetown is a thriving industry, a thriving city. Again, keeping the integrity of the historic part of it, but we have to be able to sustain our businesses, one, and then sustain those who are employed, number two.
Mm-hmm. And now you've lived in the city all your life, so you've seen what it was when you were growing up. Is the city better now than it was then, or are things better? And I'm asking, on economic levels, race relations, everything. I mean, is the city better today than it was in your youth?
I don't believe so.
You don't think so? And why is that?
Well, technology for one. We are experiencing more truths now. We are seeing things where people are, our country, our city, our state, people are so divided, and it's so apparent with the social media, with the TV. We are so divided, and we need to find a way to bridge that gap. We have to come together and find a common ground so that our city can grow. The competitiveness that was once here. My father was a coach at Georgetown High Howard High, when the Tigers were the Tigers, and the teams that they had there, they were so competitive. I was a student at Wynyard High. We were competitive. We went out and everything we did, we wanted to win. And I just don't see that in our city now. People, our youth, they have a complacency about themselves where losing is okay. And I would love to see from the top down, from our adults down to our teenagers, down to even our youth, get that competitiveness back, a sense of pride about Georgetown. When you see a blue and gold jacket walking around Georgetown, I guarantee you that person is a Howard High Tiger, and they are proud to be a Tiger. If you talk to me about being a Gator, I'm proud to be a Wynyard Gator. I'm proud I can talk about those days when we came together, black and white, on the same football field to fight. And so now we need the same thing for our youth. We need to put that competitiveness back into our city. And I believe the only way that we do that is we start to come together, find our, let me put it this way. A lady said to me once that there's good and bad in everything. Good and bad in everything. Let's look for the good. And let's find the common ground of good, and let's work from there. And stop the bickering and the fight.
What about the police department in Georgetown? Do you think it's better than it used to be as far as whether it's race relations or whatever? I mean, just dealing with citizens as a whole. Is it a better department than it was when you were growing up?
I would say yes. I would say yes. Again, we go back to and we have to talk about it, the race thing. So there have been some steps forward to diversify and bring more diversity to the department and do things that will help most communities. In fact, when I was a youth, I remember days when it was kind of passé for a black officer to arrest a white man. So yes, it's different.
Let me ask you about the budget. I know you're not privy to all these documents because you're not on council, but you see what's happening. The budget's not balanced. They've got till July 1st to get it balanced. Just looking in from the outside, is there any areas you see that could be cut, or would you support a tax increase to help balance the budget? What do you think they should do?
Tax increase, I don't believe right now is an option. The answer, I don't have. I don't have.
And you probably shouldn't, since you're not on the inside and don't have all the documents. I didn't know if you just saw something you'd say, hey, the city don't need to be spending money on that. If there was anything like that that you see.
I tell you what I will do, when I'm a city councilman, I will be in contact, build relationships with each department head, so that I'll know what is necessary and what's not necessary. So that's a move that I can make. But right now, to say I have an answer on how to balance the budget, no, I don't have that answer.
Okay. Now, as we're recording this, it's still unknown if this week's Georgetown City Council meeting was going to be in person or not. But as we're recording this, as far as we know, it's still going to be virtual. Do you think the in-person meetings should resume?
based on what's going on in our state here in the last few days, yes. I think that we should meet face to face. Relationships are important, and I appreciate all that we did with technology during the pandemic. I appreciate the patience that people had with the goof off or mistakes that were made with technology. All of us had to make a pivot, and there was a learning curve. But now that things with the vaccination and people not having to wear the mask, I think it would be smart for us to start to come back together so our words can resonate with one another.
You've got a unique situation yourself because you work hand in hand on a daily basis with Mayor Barber. If he is reelected, will the fact that you work with him every day, will that have any influence on how you vote for anything? Or
only to the extent that we can have face-to-face discussions. I have my opinion, he has his. He'll look at things the way that Brendan Barber looks at it, and I'll look at it the way that Ronald McInnis looked at it. We had a discussion 3 days ago, and when the discussion started, it didn't seem that we were headed in the same direction. It was simply because of the communication. And once I explained my position, and he explained his position, that good ground that I'm talking about, we found that good ground. And so I won't explain what that's about, but I think that's going to benefit the citizens of Georgetown.
And shouldn't that be how it is with all council members, though? That even if they disagree, they can come to a friendly, middle ground somewhere instead of, hating each other because you don't agree.
I agree. My thing is we can agree to disagree. And again, that's the problem in our country, our state, our city. We think as a people that if it's not our way, then we should be angry or fight or not talk to one another. But the only way that we can move this city forward is that we respect the opinions, the thoughts, the ideas of others, and then come to some kind of consensus, a good ground that's going to move the city of Georgetown forward.
If you are elected, what has to happen in the next 4 years for you to get to 2025 and you say, yeah, that was a good term, I want to run again? I mean, what goals would have to be accomplished for you to say, yeah, it's been a successful first term?
Well, number one, what we just talked about, we'll have to, the relationship building, people that are working together. There would be no need for city council to sit in those seats and we bicker and we can't come together for the city of Georgetown. So if we see movement, and I'm aware that some things take time, but if we're moving forward, if we're progressing toward the things that are going to make Georgetown a better place to live, a better place to do business, a better place to raise our children, then I could see going for another 4 years.
Okay. Now, I've got one more question before I get to that. I do want to once again say thank you to Jeanette Ard and Joyce Goins for letting us use Colonial Florist, their lobby here this week for these interviews. If you have any floral needs, you can call them at 843-546-5108 or stop by here at the corner of King and Prince Streets, and they will help you with any of those floral needs you have. We got graduation coming up, and some of the graduates would love flowers, so can do that. 5 people on the ballots on June the 8th. Only 3 can progress to November. Why should people vote Ronald McInnis as one of those that makes it to November?
My passion and my love for the city of Georgetown and my ability to move Georgetown forward. The idea is I'm a progressive thinker. I want things better, and my relationship building skills. I get along with a diverse set of people, and I want the best. Let me say this: you'll see a lot about the West End when it concerns me, and that has concerned some folks that I'll only be focused on the West End. Well, if I was an athlete training and I worked only on my legs, then I'd be strong on my legs and my upper body would be weak. And so there is a weak area in our town, an area, and it's the West End, and we need to bring that up. We need to strengthen that. And so that's why I place so much focus, or I'm placing focus on the area that I think is the weakest in our town that will benefit every citizen of Georgetown. If we bring that area up, the self-esteem will go up. And that's what I want to work on. That's why people should vote for me, because I'm not afraid to talk about those areas that are weak. I'm not afraid to say that if we need something done in the downtown area, I'm not afraid to go to war for that. I'm not afraid to go to war for the West End. I'm not afraid to go to war or talk or come together for anyone. But right now, I think that I'm the best candidate because I just have a feel for this community, being a lifelong citizen and working with the people every day with helping hands and also volunteering with several different groups, mentoring our youth. I just have a feel that I'm the best candidate and the best thing for Georgetown at this time.
Well, very good, and I appreciate you being here today. And we're going to see you again Monday night at 6:30 at the Howard Auditorium. You and the other 4 candidates are going to be together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you looking forward to that?
I am.
Yeah, the Georgetown County Democratic Party is sponsoring that, and so we'll have that live streamed Monday night as well, starting at 6:30. Thank you, sir, for being here.
All right. Thank you.